Y con Lacrimosa comenzamos lo prometido y ahora sí cumplimos lo que ya desde hace tiempo les estábamos augurando. Una de las bandas más esperadas aquí en la Ciudad de México. Lacrimosa se encuentra completamente en vivo con nosotros. Estamos completamente en vivo en Oxeo 1180 en este programa llamado Gaveta 12. En los controles técnicos se encuentra el custodiador de esta gavetita llamado Giancarlo. Mi nombre es Clausen y bueno, como es costumbre y siempre que tenemos a una banda, lo que tratamos de hacer es aprovechar el mayor tiempo posible y vamos a hacer una traducción muy general de todo lo que nos contesten para que sobre todo podamos aprovechar un poquito más el tiempo en cuanto a la entrevista. Well, first of all, thanks. Welcome to Mexico. Welcome to this show, and we have expected your visits for many years. So first of all, why don't you introduce yourself, and which will be the first words that you would like the Mexican audience listen from Lacrimosa?
First of all, we want to thank the audience very much for all the patience they were waiting for us till we finally found another time to come, and for the huge interest. And for us, it's especially very fascinating to see that our music, which is mostly sang in German, has quite such a big audience down here, that the people really reflect also on the music so much that they, even though they don't understand all the lyrics, that they really can take so much out of it. So we are really completely flattered and very happy to be down here.
And you?
That's some basic thoughts that we are always mostly at the same time sharing the same opinion, so.
Okay, I'm gonna translate in a very general way so people can understand us.
Sure.
Bueno, les estábamos diciendo que se presentaran. Por un lado está Tilo con nosotros, también está Ann. Y una de las cosas que dice Tilo Wolf es que, bueno, que lo primero que les gustaría que supieran es, uno, agradecerles, sobre todo a toda la gente que nos está escuchando por tener la paciencia para que vinieran aquí a la ciudad. Estaban encontrando el momento preciso, y a toda la juventud que está interesada en su música, porque a pesar de que sea música cantada o letras cantadas en alemán, de repente sí es impactante darte cuenta de la cantidad tan grande de gente que sigue su música, ¿no? Y que a pesar de que no se entienda perfectamente bien, sí tengan seguidores, y que esto pues es para agradecerse, ¿no? Is this the first time that you visit America? Or have you been in the States, for example, before? Or is this the first time you're coming to this continent?
We've been here like private, but for Lacrimosa it's the first time.
It's the first time as Lacrimosa. Which places have you visited?
Where?
Well, we've been to some cities in the States, like San Francisco, Orlando, and Los Angeles and stuff like that.
Okay, le estamos preguntando si es la primera vez que visitan el continente en sí, y nos comentan que dicen que como Lacrimosa sí es la primera vez que vienen, que han visitado de una forma pues privada, no como Lacrimosa algunos lugares como Los Ángeles, etcétera, en Estados Unidos. I'm asking you this question because sometimes, well, first of all, the first question, before you got in touch with the Mexican people you have already contacted, which was the first image that came to your mind when someone refers to Mexico as a country? Do you have certain images?
Sure, because we are both big movie fanatics, so we watch really a lot of movies, and especially also those kind of road movies. And there we saw always a lot from Mexico, and but sure, it's just movies, that's just fiction. So we had a sort of cliche picture in our mind what it might be, but we actually are still now at the moment, as we are just a couple of hours now here, still don't know exactly now what will all come up in the next couple of days.
Especially from younger people, or like any kind of touch that we didn't get any pictures, which is always sad. Like, we love when fans are writing letters or whatever, that they send pictures with them, that we get us some kind of an idea of what kind of a person might be behind the letters. So we don't actually have a clue what the kind of a Lacrimosa fans we might meet on a concert, and that's really fascinating.
Yeah, you will see it the day after tomorrow and tomorrow also. Okay. Le estamos preguntando que si tenían alguna imagen, sobre todo antes de entrar en contacto con las personas que ya han estado en contacto con Lacrimosa, si tenían alguna imagen fija de México. Y bueno, nos comentan que sobre todo son muy fanáticos del cine y que bueno, pero que en que sí se han acercado al cine mexicano, pero que sobre todo son imágenes más de cliché, más de los estereotipos que se pueden manejar, ¿no? Y que acaban de llegar, entonces realmente todavía no pueden tener una conciencia de qué es lo que se puede esperar, ¿no? Y por otro lado, Anne dice que en algunas cartas y demás, pues que te mandan fotografías y demás, pero que siempre viene a ser muy emocionante ver cómo van a ser los seguidores de Lacrimosa, ¿no? Que eso es una de las cosas más fascinantes. And now, I'm asking this question because sometimes there can be some kind of misunderstandings. For example, sometimes we turn on the TV and we suddenly see that there's a terrible and a horrible trend in some parts of Europe, for example, Germany, the northern part of Europe, even in England, for example, in which many people is following the such concepts such as racism or the neo-Nazis. And many people not many months ago began to ask, is Lacrimosa some kind of racist or something like that? I mean, sometimes also we're used to the strong image of the powerful music that is made under this scene, but sometimes people begin to think, what about if they are racist, or in which context do you develop, or have you had some kind of troubles regarding this fact? What do you think?
First of all, it's to say that Lacrimosa is not a band where there are any political or religious or any kind of statements. We have our thoughts and beliefs, which I will explain later then. But first of all, we're not going on stage and telling the people what is right and what is wrong, because no one of us knows what is right and what's wrong. Everybody has to find his own way. And I think if an artist misuses the sort of power he has, therefore that the audience allows him to go on stage, it's
very dangerous way.
Yeah, and it's very bad if then this kind of artist misuses that for bringing over his personal
politics.
Yeah. And the second thing, what we think about it is we have nothing to do with any kind of a Nazi believing or movement. But in Germany there was a problem that in the black music, in the Gothic scene, that many people said, okay, the Gothic scene also seems to move into that direction. Then many bands, not only we, also other bands, then tried to really like give interviews and spread things around like this has really nothing to do that the Gothic music represents something completely else. And it's a bit very sensible theme, because you sure can interpret in several Gothic bands whatever is satanistic or racistic thoughts. If you want to, you can always find something. But as I said before, I think it's very important that an artist draws a straight line and says, okay, that's my private thought, and that's what I want to present in my music. And apart from that, we're really trying to get the scene, or to bring up the knowledge for the people also which come into the scene, that this has nothing to do with it, and that Lacrimosa is standing apart, away from any kind of racistic
and also trying to show the people not to follow all those kind of strong people who are keeping a hell of a lot of noise, and then the weaker persons unfortunately quite often follow them, to make the people to believe in themselves and to trust their own opinion, not to follow anybody else's opinion.
Ok, bueno, le estamos preguntando sobre todo por algunas preguntas que nos hicieron, sobre todo hace algunos cuantos meses, que de repente se tienen ciertos clichés, ¿no? Que de repente prendemos la televisión y vemos cómo hay una tendencia muy fuerte en Europa, sobre todo Alemania, aún en Inglaterra, en los países nórdicos, de una tendencia muy fuerte y preocupante con respecto a lo que es el racismo y el nazismo, ¿no? Y bueno, hacia grandes rasgos lo que nos están contestando es que definitivamente ellos, no son una banda que está tratando de subir al escenario y decir sus puntos de vista políticos, ni que únicamente es lo que ellos creen o lo que ellos piensan, ¿no? Pero que en realidad no están tratando de tomar una dirección. Y sobre todo que creen que es muy malo que determinadas bandas utilicen lo que es el escenario para proyectar todo este tipo de cuestiones, ¿no? Tilo comenta que sí hubo una época, sobre todo en Alemania, en que se asoció mucho a lo que vino a ser la escena gótica con este tipo de movimientos, ¿no? Con todas las ideas neonazis y demás, pero que una de las principales cuestiones es sí dejar muy claro que ellos no tenían que ver y sobre todo que ese no era el objetivo de la escena gótica, ¿no? Sino que eran otras cosas completamente diferentes y Anne reafirma que, bueno, uno de los principales objetivos de Lacrimosa viene a ser pues que la gente realmente tenga sus propias opiniones y no que sigan las opiniones de los demás nada más porque alguien se sube en el escenario. Well, this is a question that I do not like to ask many times, but I mean, as this is the first time that you are in here, why don't you tell us a brief history of the band? When did both of you meet each other? Why did you decide to leave Two Witches and join Lacrimosa? So, what can you tell us? A brief history of Lacrimosa.
Tell the very beginning first.
Started all up with since I can since I'm going to school and know how to put letters together to form a sentence. I'm trying to express my feelings in poetries, in short stories and whatever. And then one day I had this idea to combine those sort of lyrics and poetries with a kind of atmosphere, sound effects in the background. Out of that, the first song of the Lacrimosa developed. But I didn't plan anything like what came out with Lacrimosa. I wanted to do one tape, and I thought maybe if some friends of mine will listen to that, I would be completely flattered. So then I started to record first songs, and then actually it got me so much that I couldn't stop anymore. It became a truck. And and then I started with the own label because I wanted to reach complete independency. I didn't want to be under pressure of any kind of a label kind of way you have to sort of
under their rules.
Yeah, where you have to ask, can I also release this song? And this song might not, whatever, is maybe not for the black audience. So, and then the label would maybe say, no, you have to go back to the studio. I didn't want anything like that. So that was the reason why I started then with the own label. And then released a couple of records like first Angst, Fear, translation. The second Einsamkeit, Loneliness. The third is Satura. That's a Latin word which has two meanings. First, it's a collection of poetries which have which are not like one book in one connection, but which have through the same themes actually are sort of together. And the second meaning for Satura, this word, is a gift from the humans to the gods as a thank for art and food. And then there came this tour in '93 where Two Witches was supporting Lacrimosa, and I was always looking for, actually at that time, a background singer, because I had the feeling that Lacrimosa could, or that my lyrics sometimes really need this as everything is in Lacrimosa is very there. I'm working with lots of contrasts, like you see already on the covers, only black and white. Yeah. And therefore I needed, always wanted to have this contrast voice. Then I saw her on stage there, and I was so fascinated by it her performance, and especially what she does, what I also try to do to express my feelings through the singing, and not to try to be a Mariah Carey or whatever
singer.
Yeah.
That everybody can notice.
The main important thing in Lacrimosa is to express the feelings, to bring that over. And well, then I asked her if she would like to join Lacrimosa, not as a background singer, what I first planned actually, because I realized that's the only person I can really work together with so close, what I never expect before, as Lacrimosa at that time was still a solo project. Yeah, and then we released together the Inferno and a couple of singles in between always, and the Stille last year, and now this new live release.
And what about you, Anne? When, how was the decision of leaving your previous band?
Decision wasn't very easy, but I don't know. I was so fascinated by the way way Tilo was presenting the music. It wasn't just like normal bands on stage when you watch like singers singing and other musicians are playing. You could really see that the music is coming from deep inside and from his heart and soul, and it's really a piece of him. It was fascinating me how much emotions you can put into music and present it to the live audience on stage. This was really amazing for me, and I was very surprised to get his sort of offer to join a band. Sure, I had to think about it for a few days, but the decision went quite quick. So, and therefore I decided to try my chance. I'm a person who needs to do spontaneous things, otherwise I don't know, lose my interest in everything. So therefore I packed my things and moved to Switzerland. Of course, it wasn't easy to leave a band which I was playing in 7 years, which was like a big family. But after all, we had really a good relationship with each other, with Two Witches, that they were, in the end, all supporting me with my decision to do what I really want to do. And I haven't been regretting it any day.
Ok. Bueno, rápidamente les pedimos pregunta forzosa que no nos gusta hacer generalmente, pero que nos dijeran una breve historia de lo que es la banda, ¿no? Y bueno, sobre todo Tilo comienza contándonos que desde que estaba en la escuela siempre le dio mucho por escribir lo que vendrían a ser sus sentimientos, poesía, cuentos cortos, y sobre todo de repente le surgió la inquietud de estarlo combinando con algo medio atmosférico. En un inicio, primero quiso hacer algo, una especie de cassette que hubiera estado complacido, que únicamente los amigos lo escucharan, con ciertos sonidos, con ciertos efectos de sonidos, y después a partir de ahí ya no pudo parar, ¿no? Y siempre buscó lo que vino a ser la independencia, no formar parte de una casa disquera que le dijera haz esto, haz lo otro, sino que siempre mantenerse un poco independiente para hacer lo que realmente quería, ¿no? Y sobre todo después nos platica un poquito de lo que viene a ser el concepto de los primeros discos, sin que todavía entrara dentro de la banda, como vino a ser el Angst, como vino, también nos explica sobre todo lo que viene a significar Satura, que por un lado es como un conjunto de historias, pero que se unen entre sí, más bien algo como conceptual, y también como un regalo de los dioses, ¿no? Posteriormente ya entra Anne, que la conoció, que la vio en el escenario, que quedó maravillado con ella, con su forma de proyección. En un inicio únicamente quería a una persona que fuera su como corista, pero que quedó fascinado con ella, ¿no? Que a veces sentía que se necesitaba el contraste. Si se fijan en las portadas Lacrimosas, siempre es el blanco, el negro, buscar ese tipo de contrastes, ¿no? Quedó fascinado por la forma en que se podían expresar sentimientos, y como lo vio en Anne, y ya fue cuando entró Anne y empezaron a trabajar juntos, ¿no? Una química que se dio inmediatamente, la capacidad, y que es uno de los objetivos que tiene Lacrimosa, de dar emociones. Y ya luego Anne nos está contando de la historia de cómo tomó la decisión de dejar Two Witches, de dejar una banda que prácticamente estuvo con ella 7 años, que no fue fácil, pero que también le sorprendió mucho la propuesta, y sobre todo también quedó maravillada con la forma que Tilo tiene de hacer música, ¿no? Y que bueno, no se ha arrepentido, que no fue fácil, pero que cogió sus cosas y ya fue cuando se fue a Suiza. Very quickly, right? Okay. There are many things that within Lacrimosa that could seem like barriers for people from other countries to really catch up the concept of Lacrimosa. One of them you have already mentioned it, the language barrier. I mean, some bands are able to surpass these kind of barriers, because here in Mexico almost all the people do not speak German. It could be easier for us if they were singing in English, for example. No? But we have noticed that people, the audience, catch the feeling of your music. How important do you think for this kind of for other people, for other countries? How important are your lyrics?
It's like that. The lyrics are always the most important. First of all, I also always first the lyrics, and then I write the music. So I never write the music and then try to figure out what could fit there. It's very important on one point. That's also a reason why in the latest releases there's always the translation of all the lyrics into English. But on the other hand, as the music is actually the mirror of the lyrics, so what I try to express in the music is to, on one hand, face the music, the lyrics in the music through this mirror, and on the second hand also to go then further to represent in the music things which are not to be said or not to be presented through words, to show also different sides of, if I say one sentence, like for example the sentence "I love you," and then this comes along musical parts, and there come certain different atmospheres over. You can make your thoughts, how was the sentence now really meant, also in the context what you heard before. And I met many people also which never ever understood one lyric, and they told me the song got me so much because I feel this and this and this feeling inside, and I was really flattered because it was exactly what I wanted to express. So I figured that many people, what makes me really happy, because it shows me that I'm on the right way, how I'm trying to express the lyrics through the music, that many people really can catch the meaning of a song even though they don't understand the lyrics.
Yeah, paint their own picture and get some hope for themselves.
Yeah.
It's really like different parts of the songs tell a short story, and it seems to be really for right kind of people easy to follow, no matter what language is behind it.
Okay.
And that's nice.
Les estamos preguntando sobre todo que qué tan difícil viene a ser, que hay varias cosas que parecen, que pudieran parecer que son barreras dentro de la música de Lacrimosa, como por ejemplo una que ya mencionaron, que es la barrera del lenguaje. Y bueno, lo que aquí nos están comentando es que sobre todo, que claro que son importantes las letras, que las letras son primero y después viene a ser la música, pero que la música viene a ser una especie de espejo de las letras, ¿no? Que a través, que en una manera de fusión realmente llega a ser impactante, cómo te das cuenta que a través de la música sí se está captando lo que las letras están tratando de decir, a pesar de que no se entiende el idioma en que se está cantando, ¿no? Una de las cosas que más le maravillan a Tilo es cómo de repente ciertas personas se acercan y les dicen, con esta canción he sentido esto, esto y lo otro, y que es exactamente lo que quieren decir las letras de sus canciones, ¿no? Que eso les indica que van por el camino correcto, porque a fin de cuentas la música se está fusionando completamente con las letras. Ian, bueno, dice que también una de las cosas más importantes es que cada uno vaya sacando una especie de pintura, una especie de cuadro, una especie de interpretación de cada una de las partes, ¿no? Que generalmente sí concuerdan, a pesar de que no estés plenamente convencido, o más bien que no sepas conscientemente qué es lo que están diciendo las letras, y que además por eso en los últimos lanzamientos se han querido incluir lo que son la letra en inglés de las canciones, para que bueno, la gente además lo pueda interpretar de una manera más fácil, porque bueno, a fin de cuentas el inglés ya es mucho más conocido, ¿no? What can you tell us about now that we do not understand the lyrics? I think we have been able to catch the essence of, as you told us. But what about the main themes that you like to write in? I mean, what do you want to say in your lyrics? If you can explain us, which are the general themes?
Yeah. Basically, it's about if you consider art as something which should raise the people out of their own thoughts, their own mind for a short while. if whatever, somebody sees this bottle here and he makes himself so many thoughts about this bottle. Okay, nobody can see this bottle now. It's a very simple water bottle which I'm talking about now. He can make many thoughts out of it. Some people might paint it now, whatever, and other people just drink from it and don't think further. So art can be whatever if it just inspires somebody in his way of life, in his own form of art, if he's doing something like that. And Lacrimosa also, we see Lacrimosa also in that context, and we try to express our feelings. We go into we try to figure out the human mind, human souls. When we are 83 years old, and we made a hell of a lot through in our lives, we still didn't discover all dark corners of our soul. We didn't open all doors yet. And I think it's very fascinating to every day learn something more about yourself and to develop. And out of that, you can also gather big strength. I think it's very important to, for example, a song like Stolzes Herz, which shows exactly this point, to be able to accept that you fall down, that you drop down on your knees, that you start to plead, but that you can stand up always again with a smile, which means, but also that you really realize that you fell down. Many people, they go lower and lower and they can't want to have it true. They just, and out of that they don't let themselves also fall then and don't let themselves grow into this feeling. They also never can discover it and never can get strength out of it. And that's actually, those are the basic thoughts and emotions we are trying to express with our lyrics and music.
Ok, bueno, le estamos preguntando sobre todo que, bueno, nos cuenten un poquito de cuáles son los temas generales de Lacrimosa. Y nos dicen que, bueno, si consideramos que el arte son las distintas percepciones que se pueden tener, como de una botella que tenemos aquí enfrente, que igual no la pueden ver, pero que son los distintos puntos de percepción, pues eso es lo que está tratando de hacer Lacrimosa, ¿no? Otra de las cosas es expresar un modo de vida, expresar sentimientos, que siempre es fascinante ir descubriendo lo que viene a ser el alma y la mente humana, que, bueno, nos platica un poquito de lo que trata una de sus canciones, que no voy a pronunciar porque aquí sí me va a dar mucha pena. I'm telling them that I'm not gonna pronounce the song you have already told us because I will get shamed of my pronunciation. Ok, bueno, entonces nos está platicando que es que te des cuenta que muchas veces te caes y que simplemente te puedes parar, ¿no? Y que te pares con una sonrisa, pero que te des cuenta que te has caído, ¿no? Entonces, sobre todo son todo este tipo de expresiones humanas, de conocer lo que es la mente y las sensaciones humanas, una de las cuestiones principales de Lacrimosa. Another thing that it's very, it could seem like a barrier for the music, for the Lacrimosa music specifically, but that maybe has been your enchantment, is that we have you mix so many kind of musical styles that in many parts the dark scene is some kind of clothes. Fortunately, it has changed a lot. But they used to say this is metal, this is gothic, this is industrial. I mean, and you combine so many elements: classic, progressive, gothic, metal. I mean, if someone hasn't listened to your music at all, how could you describe them? How could you describe yourself, your music?
First of all, only it's Lacrimosa. I mean, there is no name, and that's exactly also. Sure, you need to describe music somehow. Mm-hmm. Especially the press needs to describe it somehow. They can't write a book about an album. But I would principally describe it as dark metal with classical influences. That's principally the thing, and the thought also behind it is a bit. I think there are so many music styles which present really something very beautiful. For example, we are both. We grew up in the Gothic movement of the 80s, bands like Joy Division, Bauhaus, and stuff like that. But bands like that don't exist anymore. So what we are doing actually is taking these emotions, what we have out of this Gothic scene from the 80s, and try to
carry with us anyway. So Gothic heart.
Yeah, or exactly a Gothic heart, which we carry deep inside, and we try to develop that. And because there are also other bands which just copy those great bands like Joy Division, I think it's all right, but it won't bring the scene further. And if there are only copy bands, then the scene will die one day. So everything development means life. So everything which wants to be alive needs to develop. So, and I think the gothic rock of the 90s is the combination of influences from black metal, death metal, especially death metal, and for me especially also classical music. I think the classical music is something very important in the gothic music, which many bands actually never pointed out, I think. Yeah, well, those are actually the reasons why we and we wouldn't like to, if somebody would come up to us and would say, come on, these drums, they really don't sound like a gothic production. So what the hell? They have to sound like their sound. Point.
Ok, bueno, les estamos preguntando sobre todo que cómo describirían su música, porque afortunadamente que ya se ha abierto más lo que es la escena oscura, pero que muchas veces se trata de etiquetar muy específicamente. Y bueno, ellos comentan que sí, que efectivamente ellos describirían a su música como dark metal classic, vamos a decirlo de alguna manera, clásico dark metal, que ellos sí crecieron con lo que vinieron a ser la escena, pues ahora sí que clásica del gótico de los 80, que se les hace con bandas como Bauhaus, que si bien ya no existen, sí siempre van a traer ese tipo de emociones con ellos. Sin embargo, que se tiene que ir más allá, ¿no? Que hay muchas bandas que tratan de copiarles a estas grandes bandas, pero ¿a dónde estás yendo realmente, no? Que a ellos no les interesa que alguien les digan, esta batería no suena como gótico, que sino cuál sería el punto. Y sobre todo una de las cuestiones principales es dar toda esa serie de evolución y de desarrollo a este tipo de música, ¿no? Que hay muchas bandas que tratan de copiar, pero que a fin de cuentas también una de las cuestiones más importantes dentro de la música de Lacrimosa es la música clásica, que hay algunas bandas obscuras que no señalan como debería de ser o como la influencia que puede tener. Which kind of crowd do you think attend to your shows? I mean, is in all the shows that you have been in Europe, have you noticed that there are certain kind of people that follow your music? I mean, how can you describe them?
Yeah, it's actually mixed. Mostly they are gothic people, but also many metal, death metal people.
Older people, normal people.
And that's the fascinating thing. Also, older people which could be our parents actually. Also more kind of student, intellectual people, and it's very beautiful to watch the audience and to see how all those people from those different scenes are standing together, friendly, no fights, nothing going on, just together in the love for one special music. This is really very beautiful, which I really like and which makes me happy.
El tipo de gente que sigue o que va a los conciertos de Lacrimosa y sobre todo dice que sí es mucho tipo de gente, que desde el metalero hasta el gótico, la mayoría gótico claro, pero que gente normal y demás, y que eso es lo fascinante, ¿no? Que algunos papás también van, gente mucho mayor que ellos, pero que lo más fascinante viene a ser ver a toda esta gente reunida que está ahí sin conflictos, sin problemas, sin divisiones, disfrutando a fin de cuentas de una sola propuesta que viene a ser la propuesta de Lacrimosa. What about your influences? Musically, any writer that you prefer, literature?
And actually, we're taking influences from everything we read, hear, see, movies. Everything stuck inside and comes out in music unconsciously. I mean, we don't take like influences. We like Metallica. We steal this riff and change it a bit, and that we actually don't do, and we don't also stand for it. Influence, it wouldn't be any more our music if we would consciously take influences from something. It just we have to live it through.
And I think it's very interesting to take influences and to transform them in your own way. For example, the very first record, Angst, which is recorded without any drums, without any guitars, just keyboard things, That time when I wrote this record, I was very, very much inspired by Bauhaus. But when you listen to this record, you probably won't believe it. So that's, I think, something really fascinating, to transform your inspiration and to create something new out of it.
Ok, les estamos preguntando de cuáles vienen a ser sus influencias musicales, literarias, y Ian primero contesta que bueno, todo, cada acto de la vida, cada cosa que respiras, cada cosa que ves, que realmente no es que algo te influya directamente, porque si no, no estarías haciendo lo tuyo, ¿no? Que todo viene a ser, no es que digan, ay, me gusta Metallica, entonces le vamos a volar este riff, ¿no? Que ellos no manejan así. Y también Litilo enfatiza que bueno, muchas veces sí tienes distintas influencias, pero que el caso de todo esto es transformarlo en algo nuevo. Por ejemplo, cuando fue la grabación de Angst, que no tiene ni guitarra ni batería, que únicamente todo es en teclado, él estaba muy influido por Bauhaus, y que sin embargo escuchas la grabación de Angst y que no puede parecer que es eso, pero que eso es lo fascinante, transformarlo en algo completamente nuevo. What about the support that you receive in your country? I mean, we know that the Inferno album reached the charts, and well, sometimes it's difficult to get this kind of information, and we do not know if it's true or not true, no? Or the independent charts or the mainstream chart. Does that mean that you are receiving media support? Do you think that people in Europe is a little bit more open to this kind of music? But for example, here in Mexico, no, it's completely closed, the mainstream media. So which kind of support have you got in your country?
I mean, actually, also only from the underground scene. It's also still the especially Gothic music is in. I mean, metal is something else, especially in Germany, for example. But Gothic music is something that people just don't dare to touch, whether it's in TV or whatever, radio and stuff. So this is really something. Only if then through the underground, the thing gets so big, then after a couple of years they come to knock on your door suddenly.
Amazing amount of really good magazines which are specialized in Gothic and darker parts of music. And also a lot of fanzines, which we also appreciate their work. It's also important,
but not very much from media, as you told us. It's a little bit close to this kind of scene.
It's weird. For example, Der Stille, the last album, was in the major charts really high, and still the biggest German music channel doesn't play it. Other bands which didn't even enter the major charts, they're played on this TV station just because those guys are not painted in their faces and whatever. This is really a problem a bit, unfortunately.
Okay. Do you think this, if suddenly this kind of, because I'm asking you, because many fans sometimes are a little bit jealous of listening a specific group or their favorite group in radio or in TV, they sometimes get very close. They do not want them to be in media. Do you think this could change something, the perception in your audience? Are you all right as you are? Or could you like it? I mean...
And the problem is always that the people, especially in the underground scene, but that's in the human nature. I mean, you always try to present or want to have something you only know, something personal. And especially such personal music like Lacrimosa is. And then you suddenly realize that, or you walk over the street and there are people coming with Lacrimosa shirts, then you might, or some people might feel it a bit like they are coming too close into my world because this is my thing. Understandable on one hand. On the other hand, it's actually not the right idea because all those bands, they couldn't make it. And for example, we never would have been able to come here to Mexico if we would have said, okay, we only release a certain amount of records that only some people can have it and other people just can't have it. Then it's a bit unfair, actually.
Ok, bueno, les estamos preguntando sobre todo qué tanto apoyo reciben en su país y dicen que, bueno, la escena metalera y lo que viene a ser el gótico sí tiene un trato distinto, que lo gótico todavía se ve como que nadie se atreve a tocarlo, ¿no? A menos que ya sea un movimiento que va empezando a salir hasta que lo tocan algunos, ¿no? Pero a pesar de que su álbum anterior, el Steel, haya tenido un alto ingreso dentro de los charts, el canal principal de música pues no lo tocó y que, bueno, a veces viene a ser un poquito injusto porque hay algunas bandas que ni siquiera han entrado y que aún así no los tocan. Y sobre todo, y rápidamente les preguntamos que qué piensan de muchas personas que a veces se vuelve un poquito recelosa de que cierta música de ciertas bandas pasen en radio o en medios, ¿no? Y nos comentan que dicen que por un lado es comprensible que esto sucede, es la naturaleza humana, porque siempre piensas que algo tú tienes personal, que si de repente lo escuchas más masivamente, pues quiere decir que lo están entrando a tu mundo. Y por otro lado, también se les hace una actitud que no debe de ser, que no piensan que es la correcta porque es un poco injusto, ¿no? Porque siempre, si por decirlo, si únicamente unas cuantas personas conocieran aquí a Lacrimosa, que tuvieran sus discos, pues nunca hubieran podido venir. Y es una de las principales, pues, uno de los principales malentendidos que puede haber dentro de esta escena, que a veces es injusto pensar eso de que si una banda sale ya es malo, ¿no? What about, I mean, I know you are some kind of tired. We are almost finishing. What about the clown? I mean, what? I mean, we ran a contest, so what can you tell us? What for each of you? Which is the meaning of the Lacrimosa clown?
He is actually Lacrimosa. When you realize that, I mean, you can't see music, you can't touch it with your hands. It's just something you can hear and can feel it with your heart. But you can sure have a tape or a CD, but you only have the cover actually. But the music itself you can't touch, you can't describe them so well. And he actually, as I'm a very visual person, I need also this visual thing for Lacrimosa, I need it from the first moment on, and he's expresses actually in a visual way everything what I want to express with Lacrimosa, and that is especially now with a clown that is very inspired by Charlie Chaplin, who found a very beautiful way to take himself and his surrounding, on one hand not too honest, but therefore that he didn't take it too honest. He had also the chance to dig deeper. This is something very fascinating, this laughing eye, this crying eye. This is exactly this Lacrimosa feeling, and that's what our Lacrimosa Harlequin expresses.
Yeah, for me it's also the very first moment. Before the Satura tour in '93, I didn't know Lacrimosa yet, and when I saw the logo, it woke up many feelings in me. Exactly this kind of like melancholy, happiness, sadness, and joy, and everything between. And when I heard the music, it was like watching the logo, and you could sort of like step into the world and read between the lines. It's very suitably fitting to the music, in my opinion.
Ok, les estamos preguntando sobre todo el significado de qué es lo que representa para cada uno el arlequín, el payaso de Lacrimosa, y nos están diciendo que, bueno, siempre que no puedes tocar la música, que a veces no la puedes ver, no la puedes tocar, y que lo que viene a ser este arlequín viene a ser Lacrimosa en sí, que él es el que ubica todos esos contrastes para Anne de melancolía, de alegría, de tristeza, que cuando lo conoció por primera vez después de 1993 y al escuchar la música vino a resumir todo lo que podía leerse entre líneas de Lacrimosa, ¿no? Y sobre todo Tilo hace énfasis en lo que viene a ser la figura de Charles Chaplin, que viene a ser una persona que pudo llegar a un fondo, ¿no? De una forma muy, muy hermosa, ir un poquito más profundo. Y que bueno, todo esto viene a ser la representación de este arlequín de Lacrimosa. One last question, and you will go to rest. What can we expect from a Lacrimosa concert?
Well, you can expect. This is exactly the same like with the records itself. We can't say you can expect whatever this and that. Everybody who will go there and who will see it will discover something for himself, I believe. We're not doing a theatrical show on stage because it's very important for us to let the feelings flow. And if something comes up to our minds on stage, if the audience gives us feedback, we need the freedom to have the freedom to do something special. To variate. If suddenly a lyric in a song really, it sometimes happens, I'm standing on stage and suddenly I'm singing a song and it really touches me that I'm trying to fight back my tears, and those are feelings which are just happening on one concert, and then the same song on other concerts, it doesn't happen anymore. So it's always, I think for us as a band as well as for the audience, something to discover and something very personal.
And each concert is very unique as we are in close contact also with the audience. The audience has a chance to also influence our music and
through feelings, yeah.
Exactly. What comes over.
Ok, les estamos preguntando que qué podemos esperar del concierto de Lacrimosa, de un concierto de Lacrimosa, y nos contestan que bueno, es como un álbum, como la música que ellos hacen, que no puedes decir vas a esperar esto, vas a esperar lo otro, sino que uno tiene que descubrirlo, que sobre todo también es algo, no es algo teatral, que realmente es como las cosas vayan fluyendo, que cada concierto es único, cada concierto también importa mucho la retroalimentación que tengan de la gente, ese intercambio de sentimientos, y a partir de ahí es mucho como va fluyendo una tocada de Lacrimosa, ¿no? Sobre todo tener esa retroalimentación y ese intercambio de sentimientos será lo que le dé el sentimiento o la pauta a uno de los conciertos que ellos estén dando, que siempre van a ser únicos. What would you like to say to Mexican audience that they keep in mind?
Well, actually, we can't say at the moment much, but I guess when in a couple of days we are jumping to the plane again, that we can have many memories that we will stay in mind, and I hope that we can, after all those years, people were waiting for us, that we won't disappoint them too much. I'm looking very much forward for this concert and for the next couple of days. And like I said already in the beginning, I want to thank the audience, because without the audience, we wouldn't have the chance to come here. And we want to thank the audience, which has the interest in our music and gives us the chance to come here.
Yeah, it's amazing also, despite the language barriers, that the audience can be still so treu.
Oh gosh.
Well, anyway.
Trustable.
Loyal.
That's it.
Okay.
You speak German, you learn quick.
I have looked in the dictionary all the titles of your song, so Ok, bueno, están diciendo sobre todo que, bueno, que ahorita no pueden decir mucho porque acaban de llegar, pero que están seguros que en el momento en que se suban al avión para ir de regreso, tendrán muchas memorias que no van a olvidar, y sobre todo que esperan no decepcionar mucho con lo que ellos están haciendo. Que muchas gracias a la gente que ha seguido su música a pesar de la barrera del lenguaje, el ser tan fieles, y que gracias a todos ustedes es que se encuentran aquí en México. Entonces le vamos a hacer la última pregunta, ya nada más para que ellos se despidan del programa. Acuérdense que el día de mañana la firma de autógrafos es a las 6:30 de la tarde en el Cine Francisco Villa, y Lacrimosa completamente en vivo aquí en la Ciudad de México por fin, el 23 de mayo, como por ahí de las 7 de la noche. Nosotros nos despedimos. Ellos van a dar la última palabra. En los controles técnicos estuvo el custodiador de esta gavetita que ya se está durmiendo, llamado Giancarlo. Well, thank you very much for coming. I mean, many questions that were left, but we think that you will come back pretty soon. We hope so. So we will have a chance for another interview. I hope so.
Great.
So why don't you say goodbye, introducing the song for us, please?
Okay. The next song, which is to be heard now, is called Ich bin der brennende Komet, which means I'm the burning comet. And we are going to play this song tomorrow also. And what you're going to hear now is from the live record, which will come out in a couple of days.
Gracias y buenas noches.
Ah, that was great.